Hello, lizard lovers. So we got two lizards, the Pogona viticeps and the Varanus komodoensis Komodo dragon. Let's get these out of packaging. There's nothing on these boxes other than that thing, and they're pretty lightweight boxes, but they do have heavyweight foam here. So additional foam keeping them rattling around. These are rigid plastic, so you gotta be careful handling these things. But this one looks intact. They're hand cast, hand painted. I think they're made of a rigid polyurethane. You gotta be careful pulling it out of the bag because the bag itself might snag something and break it off. In particular, it's the toes. They're very fragile looking. So we got that one out. Let's see what this one looks like here. Yeah, more foam. Funky. Pretty big. But Komodo dragons are very big. I think they might be the largest lizards living today. I might be wrong. So this is called the Central Bearded Dragon, also known as the Inland Bearded Dragon, and it's an agamid lizard. Agamid is like the family of like iguana type lizards. It would be found in the arid, semi-arid regions of eastern and central Australia. These things can get pretty big. They can grow to 60 centimeters or about 2 feet long. So these things are omnivorous, meaning they'll pretty much eat anything. Vegetables, fruit, insects, even the occasional small animal. Okay. Oh, and they can also change color a little bit as well. There's several different species within Pogona viticeps. And they range in color quite a bit, as you saw in some of those images earlier. In fact, I gotta close out those images. Alright, well, let's start at the bottom of this thing. Look at that. That's really neat. Very three-dimensional scaling. But very small rear hand slash feet. They look like hands, you know. They look like human hands, but they're feet. The front ones, yeah, very small. Very tiny claws painted black. Yeah, really the scaling is quite something else, though. And then it varies. You know, the scales on the feet or legs and arms are very, very small. And up here they stick out quite a bit, and then you can see this yellow. There's some transitions here of very faint transitions of yellow. They're darker around here but lighter there, and then painted on these like orange, two different oranges, stripes and spots. Alright, interesting. Okay, yeah, these spikes are really neat. Tympanum there. The eye is just glossy black with a tiny white dot for a reflection. There's no paint in the nostril, but there is depth. No indication of the mouth being open, but that's fine. Look at this thing. It's such a smug face. Interesting. Alright, well, there's not much else to it. It's just a cute looking cartoon version of this particular bearded dragon. So I was right, the Komodo dragon is the largest lizard. It's part of the monitor lizard family. It can grow up to 3 meters long and weigh up to 150 kilos. So they live on islands in Indonesia, 4 different islands, one of which is called Komodo. That's why it's called the Komodo dragon. These things, they generally prey on the deer in the area, but will pretty much eat anything, and they've even attacked human beings. So this person sitting back here maybe daring or stupid, I'm not sure. So I know that when these things bite, they have a lot of bacteria in their saliva, and so that bacteria weakens the animal that they bite, and they'll just slowly catch up with the animal after it dies from bacterial infection. At least that's what a Discovery show taught me. One thing I never knew about these guys is they have teeth replaced every 40 days, so there might be 5 replacement teeth ready to go as these teeth break off in time. These things can see up to 300 meters away. That's crazy. But they're really bad at distinguishing colors and also just stationary objects. So basically you don't want to move if you see one of these things coming towards you. They'll think you're a tree or something. But it might smell you. Alright, so I mentioned the tracking of, after biting things, but it will actively eat animals. It'll tear chunks out of things. It's a strong lizard. It says here it doesn't have much saliva, so it might take 15 to 20 minutes to swallow a goat. And sometimes it might actually ram a goat carcass against a tree to force it down its throat. That's a funny little blurb on Wikipedia. So if you see this, they might actually knock the tree down even, trying to ram a goat down its throat. That's some poor table manners. These things can eat 80% of their body mass in one meal. That's pretty crazy. So besides the poor deer, they'll eat wild pigs and even water buffalo, which are big creatures, and attack humans as I mentioned. But they also dig up graves of human beings and will eat the human corpses. As I read this article, I'm wrong. They have generally clean mouths. Scientists used to think they had dirty saliva which caused infection, but that's not the case. They actually spend a lot of time cleaning their mouths. It's just that when they bite like water buffalo, the feces in the water is what causes those buffaloes to get infected and die, not really the saliva from the dragon itself. Now the next chapter is saying they believe maybe there's some venom in the bite of these animals. Alright, so finally these are on the endangered species list, and they're not really good for captivity. They don't want to really breed, and they suffer from a lot of problems in captivity. So that's quite a lot there. May have not sounded like a lot, but it's I spent a good 20 minutes reading that article, pausing this video, so some words were cut off. I apologize. Alright, well, looking at this, it definitely looks more cartoony than the real thing. It's all like squished and stuff. The bottom, wow, this thing is like ripped. This thing looks like a bodybuilder lizard. It's kind of weird. It's funny. It's weird though. Like it's literally like got a six-pack, right? Like big chest muscles. Again, it looks like it has hands for feet, but they're just like reversed. Some scaling there. These look a little more normal. Oh, really fine scales. You can hear them. Big fat tail there, and you can see the greens shift a little bit. It's like an olive color, but then they spray on like a darker brown perhaps, or a darker green and brown. But yeah, it is a bodybuilding lizard, right? That's funny. It looks jacked up. But then the head has got scales, big flat scales, unlike these thin ones back here, and some ruffled skin like a monitor lizard would have, and the eyes are just black again with a little white dot there, and then the eyes have this yellow scaling around it. Alright, the nostrils are pretty deep, no extra paint though, and you can just see the shifting or all the fading of the green and the darker greens, so it looks pretty neat. It's kind of psychedelic looking at the light shift through these tiny scales back here. Yeah, but it's interesting why it's all muscled like this. It's unlike all the other ones. Quite odd. So this one's quite long. It might be the longest in this collection. If I had to guess, it's probably like 11 centimeters long in its longest dimension. Of course, I lost focus there. Yeah, so looking at that, where the bearded dragon here is quite short. Maybe like 8 centimeters? Yeah. So I'm not sure if I'm ever going to get these two. They just don't really interest me. I think that's like a Gila monster. I don't know what that thing is. But I do have these other ones, so I'll at least show those off today. So here's the rhino iguana. It's kind of similar to the Komodo. The marine iguana might be my favorite one, just because the colors are so crazy. Oh no, I lied. The Secret Chase is probably the coolest one, because look at that face. That thing's ridiculous, and the thing is so covered in spikes. This is a thorny devil. And then here we have a special painted version of the common iguana. Yeah, it's just got a rainbow paint scheme. So the common iguana seems to be the biggest of, well, it's definitely the tallest. The Komodo's coming in a close second, maybe the rhino, but I guess they're all in the same general size range, I guess you would say. isn't so good on the darker figures. So I have reviews on these other ones. If you want to look them up, just look up Lizard Kingdom. So these two are alright. You know, the famous Komodo Dragon that apparently lifts a lot of weights at the gym. And the Bearded Dragon looks pretty cool. It's just cute. Alright, well, there's still other lizards I'm going to show off. They're just from a different collection. So we'll see in that video. Bye.